everyone. My name is Michelle Braden with MSBCoach, and I am here today to interview one of our leaders who participated in the MSB Coaching Institute this spring. This was actually our very first virtual coaching institute. Even though we've run this program for over 9 years now, it was our first time to do it virtually. So we're going to be offering the Coaching Institute again this fall, starting on September 9th. So we thought if some of you leaders out there were trying to decide, is this the right program for me? Is this the right thing for me to add to my leadership tool belt? We thought we would interview some of the participants to find out about their experience, and then this might help you make your decision. So one of the participants is a leader, and I'm going to let her introduce herself so she can tell you all about herself. But Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. Do you mind introducing yourself to our guests today?
Sure, not at all. My name is Lisa Caltabiano, and I work at Braden Properties. And I have been a leader for just about a year, and it's been an interesting experience. And I'd like to share more about my experience with the Coaching Institute and how it helped me.
Yeah, I'm sitting here smiling because I've known you for a little while, and you say you've been a leader for about a year, and I would say, oh, okay, maybe formally, but I think you've been a leader a whole lot longer than that. And, what makes a leader is when people are following and we're influencing them, and you certainly have been doing that for a long time. So I'm curious to hear, could you just tell us a little bit about your overall experience with the Coaching Institute?
So it was a multi-part workshop where we, as you mentioned, it was on Zoom. So we got to work virtually with people in different parts of the country. So it was nice that we were able to still be connected despite coronavirus. And we learned about coaching, how to help our employees take the next step and figure things out for themselves. And we learned a lot of different tools that we can use as leaders. It was incredibly helpful.
So I'm curious, if you were to identify like just one or two of the tools that you found to be really helpful, what would one or two of those tools be?
Well, I think my main takeaway was that I know that my team has a lot of skills and a lot of resources, and my goal as a leader is to help bring that out in them. So I learned how to help my team identify their own issues and get from point A to point B on their own. And the more my team can identify that for themselves and take that step, the more ownership they have in the outcome, the more empowered they are to be able to answer the questions for themselves in the future. And my job as a leader is to help bring that out and not to be directive and tell them how to do something or tell them the result that I want to see. And that was my main takeaway and the main tool that I learned, how to help them get to that point.
Yeah, I love that because there is that full spectrum. And in that spectrum, one end is telling and letting people know what needs to be done. And sometimes they need that. And the full other end of the spectrum is just like really listening and asking questions. And then there's all things in between. But where we see, and I love the words that you used, where we see people really buying in and critically thinking and engaging and taking ownership and believing in the solution is when we're at this end of the spectrum where they come up with it. So thank you for sharing that. I think that is a powerful takeaway. So I'm curious, and then we'll move to where are you able to most apply this. But I'm curious, since this was virtual, and you had mentioned that it was so nice to have, especially during this pandemic, which, by the way, when we scheduled this to be virtual last year, we didn't know we were going to be in the midst of a pandemic, but it was so successful that we are planning to just run the next ones virtually. So people, again, from all over can join us. And we don't know what's going to happen right now in this pandemic. But what made it meaningful to you, even though it was virtual? I guess I'm looking for, you're on Zoom, sometimes for 3 hours at a time. What kept you engaged?
First and foremost, I think the material was engaging. I wanted to be there, and there was a wealth of experience in the room. So despite the fact that, and notice I said in the room, despite the fact that we weren't in the same physical room, I still felt very much a part of the interaction, and you could see each other close up. You had this Zoom had a lot of great resources. We had a board that we can all collaborate on. We could break out into separate rooms. The coaches can jump in and out of our rooms to check in with us and see how we're doing and offer us some feedback. So despite the fact that we weren't physically together, we didn't lose anything. To me, we didn't lose anything in the process. And I still felt really connected to the team participants, who, by the way, were a dynamic group. They were a great group of people to work with a wealth of experience. So that in itself was pretty exciting for me.
Yeah, I think that that's one of the things that when we sign up or register for a program, oftentimes we're not thinking about who we're going to meet in the room, but it is amazing how much they add to our experience. So we do have phenomenal master coaches between Debbie and Joanne who facilitate this, but there's also so much knowledge in the room and so much learning that goes on in that sharing collectively when everyone's together and then in the breakout session. So thank you for sharing that experience. So you did share with us some of the results that you're seeing with asking questions, getting people to buy in. Are there any other results that you're seeing professionally or personally that you would like to share with us?
I think professionally, I have improved tremendously through this process. I think that I can see that both in my own confidence, but also in my rapport with my team. I think that I'm working to foster a team dynamic where everyone feels included, folks feel that their opinions are valued, and that's really important to me. I want my team to feel engaged and know that I've got their back and that I'm not just going to be somebody who's telling them how to do things and telling them and micromanaging everything. I'm seeing a lot of positive rapport, and I think that that's a product of my willingness to work with them and finding actual techniques that help me do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a great byproduct of us asking powerful questions and listening. It not only allows us to move into a new space of them taking ownership, critically thinking and buying in, but I don't even want to say it's secondary because in some ways it's primary, how much it enhances relationships. I mean, it's just phenomenal how that just naturally happens when we engage in this different level. Well, last question. So what advice or what recommendations would you give to a leader who is trying to decide if they should attend? What would you say to them?
If you have to decide, then, clearly you're thinking that it's a good idea and you should give it a try. Even if you've been doing this for years, I'm sure that there are skills that you can learn and practice, and you're learning from experts who have a lot of experience. So I think that it certainly wouldn't hurt, but I think that it would be beneficial for your company. And knowing that you've got a team that is engaged and motivated and thinking problems through on their own, that's valuable, and it'll put your company heading in the right direction. So I recommend it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lisa, for that and sharing your experience and your feedback with us. So like we said at the beginning, we're offering this Coaching Institute again this fall, starting in September 9th. At the bottom of the screen, there's some information where you can click to learn more about the details and register if you want to. This program really is designed for leaders and managers who want to enhance their skills, who want to add the ability to coach to their tool belt. Doesn't mean that other tools aren't important. This is just another tool to add and enhance. And as Lisa said, maybe you've even been to some coaching programs, but you want to get a little bit more. This is the opportunity to continue to grow and having that growth mindset for learning. So thank you so much. We hope to see you in September. And Lisa, thank you for joining us and for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, have a great day. Bye-bye.